Anything to do with your environment? Some of you are sleepy right now, right? Some of you are energized. Some of you are whatever. Does it have anything to do with your environment? Do we know what controls your emotions? Can anybody tell me what actually controls your emotions?
Self-talk.
What's that?
Self-talk.
Okay, we're going to get into that in a second. That's not too bad. That's actually a pretty good answer. Anyone else? Reactions? Here is what this is actually proven actually controls your emotions, okay? Motions dictate emotions. You know how we know this is true? I can look at each one of your faces and I know exactly what you're thinking emotionally. If I say something that ticks you off, your emotion is going to dictate your emotion. When was the last time you won the lottery and you were so excited that you put a frown on your face? Did that happen? No, because your emotion dictates your emotions. I'm going to go a little Dr. Phil on you guys for a few minutes, okay? There are about 80 muscles in your face, and the average person knows how to use about 4 or 5 of them. This is why the average person, when you say something, all they know how to react is happy, sad, frustrated, these different things. And they train themselves how they are going to respond throughout the day, and that motion they give dictates the emotion that now has some kind of an effect on their environment. Are you guys following so far? Now, when that happens, can your emotions or can somebody else's emotions, which are dictated by motions, can they affect other people's emotions in the room? Do you all know somebody who's the life of the party? You love to have them at a party, or you love to have them around. You do nothing but smile when they're around. Do you or do you not? And are they generally smiling when you see them or frowning? Do you know somebody who you can't stand? They step into the room and you're looking for a bridge to jump off of. Does anybody know that person? Right? And you know this is true too because every one of you at one point or another either knows somebody or you yourself have actually scheduled a party around somebody that you knew you had to invite, but you knew they weren't going to be available. True or not true? Now, if you can't think of that person right now, you just may be that person. This is when I turn my back. That's where it gets a little uncomfortable, okay? But you know what I'm talking about. There are people that have this effect, right? Now, this is something that great leaders have learned. Have you ever noticed that certain people, when they walk into a room, there's a certain aura? They bring the room into a certain focus. They bring either up or down. Is this true, yes or no? Think of it this way. I come from the U.S. I come from Connecticut, just about 45 minutes out of New York City, okay? Now, our president right now is President Obama. Now, this is not a political thing. Hate him, like him, whatever. I don't care about his politics. I'm just talking about the motions equals emotions, okay? So, President Obama, one of the things that, regardless of your political affiliation, one thing that many people say is that he's very charismatic, yes or no? Okay, what the heck is charisma? Is it like an aroma that comes out, like a skunk that hits the room? I have charismatized you. What the heck is charisma? Can anybody tell me? What's that? Energy? What the heck is that? Likeable? Okay, let's talk about this. Here is what great leaders have learned and what every single person in this room should learn, is that you can have an effect on the people, meaning they think you're charismatic, they think that you're whatever, confident, whatever. Take a look at this position right here. Can all of you see me? Okay, I don't know because I got these bright lights here, right? So, I'm in this position right here, right? What's the difference between this and this? There's about a 1/4 inch. I showed confidence, I showed depression, I showed lack of confidence in a 1/4 of an inch. What kind of an effect does that have on you? Can you imagine if I ran onto the stage and we had Katy Perry going, "Baby, you're a firework," and I came up here and said, "Hello, everybody. Are you ready to have fun?" What kind of an impression would that have on you? Is the way we use our voice. Now, when I'm trying to project something, do I talk fast or slow? Do I talk high or low? Are my shoulders back or are they down? That is not an accident. See, this stuff, I told you I'm going to get Dr. Phil on you for about 5 minutes, okay? And 5 minutes is almost up right now. But the point is that all of us know that this is true because every one of you knew what answer to give me, and yet so many of us are not cognitive of that reality I just told you about. And so you're walking into rooms, you're walking into situations, and you're allowing whatever environment you're in to dictate what's going to happen instead of you controlling that environment. We already said this. Would it have a better influence on your business if more people wanted to be around you, yes or no? So do you think something like this could actually be something helpful? Because trust me, we're going to get into all of the practicals and all that kind of stuff. But again, it means nothing if you don't learn to master this very thing. Okay? Real quick, I want everybody in this room to stand up a second. Stand up a second. I don't want you to look at your neighbor. Please, do not look at your neighbor, okay? When you stand up, I would like you to cross your arms. Don't think about it, just cross them. All right. If your left arm is tucked underneath your right arm, it means you're a great lover and you don't think enough of yourself. If your right arm is tucked into your left arm, it means you're great with finances and you think about right. If it's not tucked into either one, you think way too much of yourself. Now, please sit down. Do not look at your neighbor, okay? And let me just get ahead of it here because I already know some guy is going to yell out, "I'm a great lover," okay? That joke's been said many times before, okay? Now, what I just did with you does not have 100% certainty, but it has a very high percentage of certainty because we do things whether we recognize it or not. Motions equal emotions. And you don't need to go to the level what I just went to, but you do need to understand what you are projecting on a regular basis. You know, my wife used to joke around, she still does, that when I woke up in the morning, it was like that movie, The Hills Are Alive. Thank you. No men answered this time. The last place I was at was a bunch of men answered, and you should be ashamed of yourself. So, The Sound of Music. She said it was like The Sound of Music, and it was like Cinderella where, you know, the birds came over and took the covers off of me and did these. I'm realizing now she was completely mocking me. Right now I'm actually recognizing that. I told you, I say whatever comes to my head. So, I realize now she was doing that, but when she's saying that, I wake up in a certain state, I wake up in a certain place, is that by accident or is that intentional? These are lead questions, guys. I'm giving these pretty easy right now. These are fastballs. That is absolutely intentional, okay? I do not wake up every morning feeling like The Sound of Music, but I make a decision in the way that I'm going to start my day. Do you see how that works? Now, how do you control your state? Not stuff you usually hear about with real estate, but just as important. How do you control your state? It's by the questions that you ask yourself. Think of it this way. If you ate too much food at the last awards gala, what most of you are going to do is you're going to ask yourself a question subconsciously, why did I eat so much? And many of your minds are going to respond and say, you're a pig that can't control yourself. That's what's going to happen. Okay? It's terrible, but this is what the mind does because your mind is programmed to answer this way. It's about the questions you ask. But if you ask a different question and you said in your head, what do I need to do to get in better shape? Your mind is now programmed to think of solutions and be much more positive about what you have to do. So remember this point. Your mind is like your brain is like a computer. Your state is controlled by the questions that you ask yourself on a regular basis. And right now, unfortunately, what so many of us are doing is we're asking the wrong questions. We're saying very critical things. We're saying very whatever, and then we wonder why we're always in a place of feeling like we're depressed or feeling like we're angry or feeling like we are whatever. Do you know what I've found from doing a lot of this research and talking to thousands of realtors from all over the place? Is that generally people are not really that mixed up in as more drama than someone else. It's that they themselves do drama. Have you ever met these people? Always something going on, always something wrong, always something bad. Have you ever met these people? Am I the only one? One person's met these people? Right? Could you imagine if, how many of you have kids again? Raise your hand. Okay, those of you that have kids, those of you that don't have kids, think about somebody you absolutely love, closest in your life. It can be your dog, I don't care. Think about the fact that your children's lives depend on the fact that you cannot get involved in drama for the next 12 months. How would that change?